Look at that, everybody. We're live on the SideQuest, your weekly journey into the beautiful, wonderful, magical world of video games. This week, it's the year-end journey. The journey is complete, some might say, as we are getting together to discuss the game of the year, games of the year, technically. I am Dali Demofsky, as you can see down there somewhere. My hand is covering. There you go, Dali Demofsky. Over this way, JJ, _J.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Way over there, Taylor at Taylor Bliss.
That's me.
That's you. This person right here, Sam Dixon.
Yeehaw.
And you know what? By the way, before we move on, we just finished season 2 of Emily in Paris, and that French baguette that the cat's holding is like just perfectly spot on. So just wanted to let you know that. Don't ask me why I've been watching it. It just was that person right over there. The one, the only Zach. Okay, Quest.
Howdy.
How's it going, sir?
Good.
Howdy. You're not Zach in Paris. Sorry. Hey, you guys doing good?
Yeah. Absolutely
great.
covered in snow, so that's good. Seattle's
You
not
guys
good
are
with that.
crazy. Get some nice snow over there.
Yeah. All the ups and downs and hills and valleys of the Pacific Northwest, great for snow. Perfect.
Either wildfires or snow, apparently.
Yeah. No, that we have 2 seasons here: snow and fire.
Our only seasons in Michigan are orange barrel season and layoff season. I think that's the only 2 that we have. Well, you know what? We're gonna dive into there. Thankfully, there hasn't been a lot of video game news. We can talk about all the Activision fun, but I don't want to talk about the Activision.
I'm tired of Activision fun.
Tired of Activision fun. We're gonna go right into our games of the year, our favorite games, as we do every year. We talk about our 5 favorite games, and
I should change my background for this. There we go. Let's see if this works.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Oh no!
There we go. There we go.
There it is. The game of the year, 15 years running. I don't know when.
I think it's 28 years. At this
28 years at this point. Game still holds up. We're gonna go through individually our 5 favorite games of the year, and then we'll essentially pick the site's best game or the game of the year for the site.
That's gonna be
based
fun.
off that.
That's gonna be a fun fight this year.
This is going to be difficult. Last year was easy because it was like, Final Fantasy VII was on everyone's list. Cool.
So that's why there won't be a Final Fantasy game this year. So I think that's just the way to go.
Works, yeah.
That's how it works. Can't have it 2 years in a row. But and then just to remind everybody, last year it was Final Fantasy VII, as Zach said. It was a lot of fun. I ended up reposting the podcast from last year, mostly because I actually never posted an article that listed our game of the year last year. I think I just posted the podcast. So there we go. Now we have it from last year. We actually did our GOTY last year on January 1st of 2021. Oh. So we're like 2 days ahead of schedule this year. How cool is that? Yeah, 2 more days could have finished that Halo campaign, Taylor. But
yeah, probably actually
it's only like 11 hours. We're gonna jump in. Last year, I did rewatch the whole thing. Last year, JJ was first, and therefore JJ will not be first.
Yeah, good.
This time. I'm gonna go to this gentleman below me right here, Sam Dixon. Let's go over your 5 favorite. Are you ready to go over your 5 favorite games of the year?
Yeah. We're just listing all 5 right off the bat.
Yeah. Well, just you're gonna go one by one and tell us what you liked about each one.
Okay. I guess. All right. Let's start in reverse order then. Let's start at number 5. I debated putting this on here, but it's mostly because I played a lot of it, and there's a lot from this year that I still need to play. So let's actually do those first. I still need to play Deathloop Returnal, Persona 5 Strikers, which might have been last year even.
It's free next week, so
yeah, and I played some Scarlet Nexus and really liked it and need to continue to play that. So I'm going to put those out there that those 4 could easily. Oh, sorry, Psychonauts 2. Couldn't read my own handwriting. That's also on that list. So those 4 or 5 could very easily replace any of the bottom. No, just the last one, actually.
Just the last one.
Just number 5. And that number 5 is Mario Golf Super Rush.
Yeah.
Oh damn! There you go.
Hey, do you like golf? Are you bad at it? Because you can't. You physically cannot be too terrible at Mario Golf Super Rush. Honestly, I've been in. I tell you what, it's not even Mario Golf that you should be playing. There's a mobile iPhone golf game that's almost exactly like Mario Golf that you should be playing instead of Mario Golf. And I'm gonna look that up here in 2 seconds. I'm really prepared for this. If you can't tell, Birdie Crush is what the name of the iPhone game is, and it's a free-to-play gacha anime game. And I suggest if you like golf, go play that instead. But if you like Mario characters, hey, there's a bunch of them in here, and there's some Mario courses, and I'm really selling this game well.
Yeah, no, I'm like, wow, this is now in my top 5.
It's got motion
oozing.
controls. It's fun for the whole family.
It's got New Donk City in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's not the strongest. I'm certainly not going to suggest you pay the money to get the Switch Online expansion and play the far superior Mario Golf 64. Which might not actually be on that yet.
It's not.
It's not. Mario Tennis is there though. But yeah, it's okay. It could be better. I mean, I'm watching the gameplay and being like, that was fun times.
It was fun. Remember when we played it on stream? That was good.
Yes, it's better to play with friends than it is alone. The single player just kind of sucks. It's almost like a Call of Duty single player where it's just getting you ready to play against people that actually know how to play Mario Golf. So if you're looking for a sports game and you hate anything that has the date and year at the end of it, then there's Mario Golf.
All right, Mario Golf. Nice.
Okay, so let's jump to number 4, which if we're talking number-wise, we're going from like a 75 up to like an 89. And that would be Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury.
Bowser's Fury is just sort of, that's the game for me. I mean, that game, Bowser's Fury is fucking good.
Super Mario 3D World is one of the best Wii U games of all time, and it's incredible.
There weren't many of them.
There weren't, but that game still is incredible. You know, I still recommend that you play it with like no more than like 2 people, as opposed to playing it with like a full set of 4, because it gets a little hectic. But I think Super Mario 3D World really plays like the sort of gap game that should have come before Mario 64. If that was a modern game as opposed to, you know, coming out at the dawn of 3D platformers in general.
Yeah.
And Bowser's Fury kind of feels like another one of those lost games in between there, where it's like, hey, it's open world, but not really. And also you're just basically playing Mario, but in a much more confined space. It's not, you know, as freewheeling as Odyssey. Yeah. It's more traditional Mario. It's basically a weird sequel or like a proof of concept demo for Super Mario 64.
It feels like Bowser's Fury feels like them sort of testing the water. It's like, well, if the next Mario game was this, as the whole game.
I think you know, a lot of people probably forgot about this game that it came out this year. Probably because it actually came out in 2013, but they just not this year. But this is part of that the year or the 35th anniversary year of Mario that kind of went a couple places, but you know, just such a great game. Especially the Bowser's Fury stuff, because the way it opens up and keeps shifting the entire giant map that it's on.
Well,
you have to play that.
Yeah, where Mario Odyssey is like nostalgia because they, you know, sort of hint at and reference a bunch of the old Mario stuff. Like this just feels like old Mario. Like it honestly does feel like that sort of weird stepgap between a 2D and 3D Mario. You don't got the pat toss. You play a lot as the cat who doesn't like the cat.
Yeah.
You play as Giant Cat. You attack weird Ink Bowser.
Splatoon reference.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it ties into Sunshine, right? Mario Sunshine. It ties right into that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
there's a kaiju battle, which is awesome.
Yes, which leads to my next game, Super Mario All-Stars. No, I'm just kidding.
The Super Mario Game & Watch.
He can't do this. He can't.
Yeah. Hey, that Zelda Game & Watch is great.
Hell yeah, it is actually.
But okay, if we're gonna go with number 3, then we're gonna keep it in the Nintendo family, and something that I assume is on some of your other lists is Metroid Dread.
I've heard of this.
Yes, be filled with dread because this game is fun. I don't know. Hire me for marketing. Yeah, I wasn't the hugest of Metroid fans. I really liked Super Metroid, and I've played, I think it's Fusion that's on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
I've played through those, and
they are the two best ones. So
Yeah.
They're the two good ones. Yeah,
and I'm more familiar with the Metroid Prime series because I, like many children, was obsessed with GameCube growing up. So it's nice to kind of go back to these sort of older style games. I mean, now that you have indie games, it feels weird calling any Metroidvania like an older style game, since that's like 80% of things on Steam nowadays. Yep. But it's just nice to have like a flow to combat, and always feel like you're learning as you're playing. I know, like many other weird Nintendo fanboys, I went through and tried to 100% the game. And there was really only one situation where I had to look up what exactly I was supposed to be doing. And it was more of, it's not that I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. It was more I couldn't get my damn hands to work exactly the way that the game wanted me to do it.
You are older than 21 years old, Sam. It's okay.
Yes. So I mean, I mention on here all the time, and we're going to mention in the next final 2 here too, that movement is a big part of games to me. Basically, I'm not a speedrunner, but I think being able to sort of translate the controls and movement in a game to sort of basically come up with your own skate lines of how you're moving through the environment and being involved in combat is probably the biggest, most important part of action games and pretty much any game in general to me. And Metroid just gives you such a suite of controls that you really can kind of define your own path with still doing kind of exactly what they want you to do. Like, it felt like it was more on rails than some of these Metroidvania games have been in the past. Even some of the other Metroid games, it kind of was, it kind of led you to where you wanted to go next, as opposed to making you sort of interpret it. But I mean, I love it. I'm sure we're going to touch on it some more when you guys talk. I hope I'm not putting words in you guys' mouths here. And Metroid's actually like top or bottom 30 for you or something like that. But we'll move right along here. Something that might be on some other people's lists, Halo Infinite at the number 2 spot. I know Taylor's been playing Halo 5, or at least that's what Xbox has been telling me recently.
Listen, I was playing Halo 5 until yesterday so that I could beat it to play Halo Infinite.
Yeah, you sent me a message.
None of that story matters. I'm gonna let you know. None of that matters.
Listen, it's semi-relevant, and I don't regret the time I put into it, but it wasn't great. Halo 5 is not very good.
Man, I mean, we can start with multiplayer first for Infinite. It's great. Feels like old Halo with it being its own thing. I've never been into the Call of Duties with the sort of fast pace. Oh, I've entered a room and luckily I pinned my cursor on the top of your head before you did mine, so you die first. Much more of a line of sight game, being able to play tactics and mind games with people. Learning how grenades bounce off of different surfaces again has been a lot of fun. Game modes are slowly coming into that game, and I know that there is a chorus of people who are constantly complaining that they're not doing enough or giving enough or whatever. Hey, Halo wasn't ever about cosmetics back in the day, and it certainly isn't for me now. And I know that the people that are mad that you had to pay $10 for cat ears or whatever would say otherwise to that. But Halo multiplayer is still very good. I don't personally need the carrot on the stick to make me continue playing it. Still a great game to jump on with 3 of your friends and play some arena stuff, or if you got 6 people online, jump into big team battle and get a whole bunch of people going there. So multiplayer, great. Campaign, hey, do you not care about the Halo story? Because the game kind of doesn't either. Master Chief talks more in this one, so
a lot more
captioning. Do you like Far Cry but with Halo guns? Because that's exactly what this is. It gets a little repetitive, don't get me wrong. You also don't have to be a huge monster like I am, and every time you see a not completed thing on an icon, you have to go and complete it. So you can.
I was gonna say I actually disagree. I'm probably about 95% of the way through. I mean, it depends on like what your goal is, but if you're saying that I'm gonna complete the campaign on a normal difficulty, I haven't felt it be repetitive at all because I'm not an outpost monger.
Yeah, I know that's my own personal problem. Because again, also with Halo, I have to be one of those monsters that plays your original playthrough on heroic. I won't do legendary, but heroic just always felt like he was so disgusted with
He's
my
so
review.
disgusted.
There's plenty to do. Things can just start to feel a little samey when you're entering combat the same way all the time, and yeah, you can switch up weapons, but it's like when you're going to raid a base and there's just a convenient ghost sitting out there, you're just going to leave the ghost so one of them can pick it up? Like, come on. You've got to take that in with you, even if it's just to jump out at some point and ram it into somebody. And of course, like I mentioned Far Cry, you can't do the same extent of like, I'm going to strap explosives to this ghost and run it into the middle of this group of people and blow it up. But you can take a rocket launcher in there and, shoot somebody with a missile and then use your grappling hook, which I haven't even mentioned yet. Halo with grappling hooks. And get up to the top of a building. Or I don't want to ruin all of the upgrades, but there is some very large
good job, Bob. Yep.
Upgrades and advantages to leveling up with Spartan cores to some of the gear that they give you. I'm not even finished with that game yet. But man, it's a good one. And I'm probably going to continue thinking about it after I finish it and continue to play multiplayer until they give me co-op campaign and then play that. And then shocking.
Wait,
what's up?
Can I make the prediction for what your GOTY is?
It's gonna
without
upset
saying
you.
it. Without saying it.
Shouldn't be too hard to guess.
Shouldn't be too hard to guess. I got the video loaded up and everything too. All right, Sam, go ahead.
Okay, so Final Fantasy 14 Online. Yes, so actually it's Riders Republic. Does everybody remember that game?
Damn it.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's Forza Horizon 5. May I call it the best open world game of this year?
Ooh.
Yes.
Man, hey, Cars. Cars, the video game. You remember Lightning McQueen? Well, guess what? Somebody has made a Lightning McQueen skin for every single Chevy car in the game. If your car's red and it doesn't have eyes, ka-chow, I don't want to race you. So yeah, I mean, I was playing this game more today. I'm playing it on both a controller and a wheel now because I'm a real serious gamer.
Yes, you are.
Wow, this guy's gaming.
Yeah, I slicked back in the gamer chair. I did research last night on how you can make your own H-paddle shifter with a arcade joystick, and then also how you can make your own handbrake with one. So I'm probably going to be doing that soon.
I guess you could take a fight stick and convert it into like a fucking.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, man, it's a good game. Even if you just like even if you have a passing interest in cars, like it gives you such cool stuff, like almost immediately in the game. You get to experience like a bunch of stuff. You can set customization things to your pace. Even the festival stuff, the sort of like weekly seasonal challenges that they give you, there's only really one piece of content that is, let's say like end game difficulty locked. And you don't necessarily need it to get all the awards or rewards for that week, other than the one reward that you get from completing that. It locks like the seasonal events into highly skilled, which is more of like a medium hard, but you can play it with any of the assists on, anything like that. It's just one of those where the harder difficulty you play, the cars will be faster, they drive better lines, stuff like that. But the only thing you're missing out on is more rewards, right? So instead of getting $10,000, you get $15,000 or fill in the blank. It's just so clean looking. It runs on a potato. It's their engine is like insanely scalable. It looks great on the Series X. I don't know what to say about it other than it's just fun. I went through and just listened to a podcast yesterday and got 3 stars on all the PR events, just because it was something to do, and it allowed me to just be in that world and mess with a bunch of different cars without needing to sort of just, decide to go play a race, or you have different events where it's okay, go and smash 20 snowmen, or they had a bunch of Christmas gifts for the seasonal stuff this week. And then there's like missions that people make plus the developers make. I played a platformer again today, which was like a little like find 3 puzzle boxes, and these boxes give your car upgrades while you're driving around. So you had to sort of complete them in a separate, in a sort of order, because then you needed the more power in your car to like climb up a tower or something. So there's just so much to do in that. Yes, there's like hardcore, I'm a racer sim boy, if you want that in there. But there's enough of, cargo burr that people can mess around with without feeling like they need to be Michael Schumacher out there.
I'm actually really surprised you didn't choose Genshin Impact.
I figured we were going to talk about games as a service since Final Fantasy.
That's our content creator of the year.
Or it's the Sam's Genshin Impact presents Game of the Year.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to say, if we're talking about 2013 when Super Mario 3D World came out, when did Final Fantasy 14 or whichever one it is come out?
A Realm Reborn.
The original was like
the original came out in 2010.
Yeah, we need to distinctively count
on PlayStation 2, right?
Game.
Like
no, that was 11.
It was like
was it?
It was just PC. They planned on a PS3 port, but they couldn't do it because the engine was bad. So
the engine in Forza Horizon, none of those engines are bad.
No, they're all pretty good.
No,
I don't know.
They're
I do have
good.
And you can tune those engines and put Genshin Impact paint jobs on your cars.
Oh yeah.
I have a truck that says MiHoYo on the front, and then Paimon is on the bumper sticker. It's good stuff.
Worked out perfect. It worked out perfect that way. Well, there you guys have it for Sam. His GOTY of the year is Forza Horizon 5. Well done. Let's move on to the next person. And I'm going to go with, let's go with Taylor. Taylor.
All right. I wrote these down 3 minutes ago.
So you're exactly like me.
Yeah.
He's ready.
I couldn't do 5, so I have 6, and I'll explain why. Now I'm going to try and number them, which is going to be hard. 2 of mine are not games explicitly from this year, but include releases from this year. And
Avengers, gotcha.
Yeah, it is Avengers. I'm so glad that you knew, JJ. Right off the bat, I do wear my heart on my sleeve. So if we're going to do, I'm going to break them up just because I can.
Yeah.
And hate's going to break up.
True. So if we take my 4 from this year, let's see, I'm going to break these down. I'm going to probably say Cruelty Squad, because that, like, even if it wasn't explicitly good, which I think it is, because I think it's an excellent game to like actually play in the way that it was designed, it deserves a nod, if for only just being something that wasn't there before, and is something new. And that's all I'm going to say. Cruelty Squad, because we've already talked about it.
Content on this
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, A, we've already talked about it before, and B, it's anything I say about it is going to sound like gibberish. It's a true game that has to be experienced type of thing.
It wasn't until Zach tricked me into playing that game through all of these hours talking about
look at this. This looks like nonsense. But you play it and it is nonsense.
It is.
But it's also, I don't know, it's also like has these weird flashes of brilliance to it.
You understand the language it's talking to you once you're inside of it. As an outsider looking in, this makes none of this looks like it's anything. It
correct.
Looks like
that's a good way to put it, JJ. And let me tell you what. Wait till you get to the point where you're like, wait, I want to figure out what any of this means. And then you're really going to be like, what is happening?
Because like the thing that's crazy is you're like, what does this mean? And then you read into it and it's like, this makes a lot of sense and it's kind of scary.
It is so bizarre, the whole thing. Yeah. Anyway, Cruelty Squad's great.
So you said you're gonna have 6. Is this like 5A or 5B as a part
this is technically number 4 on the games that came out this year. But I'd probably say number 5 overall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let go.
Yeah. All right. I'd probably say 6 overall is Metroid Dread, which was a truly wonderful experience that I loved a lot. I already said what I wanted to say about it when Sam talked about it, so I won't go into any more. Let's see. Oh God, this is getting so hard. Already. Number 3.
You're just bouncing around, aren't you?
Wait, no, I'm on 4, aren't I?
New math.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna list them all. They're not in any order. Maybe the top 2 will be in order. Honestly, I also didn't play that many games this year, so this makes it like it's like, how do you order the 6 games you played in 2021? Halo Infinite actually really was very good. And I played 5 just for context, and man, Infinite trounces Halo 5 like in every possible metric. It's kind of crazy, actually. It's a great game. The open world part is, I think, more interesting than any of the previous ones have been. It takes the best parts of what Halo has been in past games, which are these huge levels in this semi-directed design structure, but in giant sandboxes. Some of the best levels from Halo 3, which are, for some people, the precipice of the series, like there were just these massive levels. And so all it did was take that general idea and say, okay, but now it's just all in one map. And you're like, yeah, okay. But, same points are also valid where, if they put some, certain weapons and certain vehicles in similar places over and over, you get it, and you can do the same thing every single time. But if you just mainline the story, which is what I'm doing, because I think it's great, Sam, they actually instance you a lot off of the overworld. You get the old style of, this is your directed campaign level. That stuff is still there, but mostly just for the story parts.
I really enjoy the game's sense of humor. It
is much funnier than
Master Chief's got a little too, dude. He's like
yeah. And honestly, the jackal, all the enemies, the jackals, the grunts, have way more dialogue and more interesting dialogue than they have in any of the other games. I was actually, the first thing that came to my mind when I was playing it over the past 2 days was, in Halo 5 there was like nothing. There's no enemy dialogue at all. Half the time you're fighting what they call the Prometheans, and they don't say jack shit. They were also absolutely miserable to fight against by comparison. So that already makes it a much better game. But yeah, I don't know. Halo Infinite is a true return to form for the series. All right, what else we got? we're in top 3 territory. Psychonauts 2. Psychonauts 2, as I mentioned when it first came out, we were talking about is just like, how do I design video game, and talk to Double Fine on how they made Psychonauts 2, and you will learn everything that you need to know about how to make a video game, because it has everything that makes games good, in my opinion, from start to finish. It was a treat, and I wish that it was double the length. So that
Do you need to play the original Psychonauts to get into this one? That was one thing that I was trying to find out, because I never played the original. And
you will miss some things, but you could also watch probably what it would be a 45-minute recap video.
And it has a really good recap at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, that's true. It does do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't cover everything, but it would be enough so that you're not like, what am I doing?
Yeah, it even covers the VR game. So like,
okay,
that's true. It does.
Yeah.
But yeah, Psychonauts 2 is great, and don't let anything stop you from playing that game.
It's on Games Pass. Just play it. Jesus
It's on Games Pass. I will. I'll play it.
It's so good. All right. And then I'm going to lay out the last 2 in no particular order. But like I said, both of them didn't necessarily release this year, but had releases that came out this year. The first one is Outer Wilds. So I didn't play Outer Wilds when it first came out at all. It was always on my radar, and for whatever reason, I just didn't play it. And but then Echoes of the Eye came out. Was it like 2 months ago?
Yeah,
3 months ago?
3 maybe.
Or when did it come out?
Very recently.
September 28th. So yeah, 3 months ago. I was right. No. Yes. And I don't know. You have to play Outer Wilds.
It's a game that's really hard to talk about because the concept is very...
There's nothing that I can say that won't detract from your experience of the game.
Exactly.
It's a space exploration learning experience. That's about all I'll say about it. It's a game. I finished it, and I knew that there was DLC out. It's one of the reasons why I picked it up, or why I picked up playing it. I already owned it, of course. Why else? I bought it probably like a year and a half ago. But I finished the main game, and my immediate response was, how the fuck would you do anything else with this? And then I finished the DLC, and I was like, that's all right. That's it. That's how you would do that, I guess. It's amazing. It is very spooky, and you probably will play the first half of it. I think it probably took me about 16 or 18 hours on the DLC alone. And for the first half of it, you're like, it's not that spooky. And then the game changes, and you're like, okay, this is very spooky, and I would like it to be less spooky now. But yeah, Outer Wilds is, that's so good. For people that played the main game and then got this, the DLC must have felt like an absolute, windfall of, I don't know. It's really good. It's one of those things where I would love to have a closed-roomed just one of those podcasts where it's just like, okay, heads up, this is Spoiler Town, and only people that want to attend SpoilerCon can stay, because I'd love to talk about it, but not for nobody other than those who either don't care about being spoiled or want to be.
By the way, Zach, great job just throwing in the Discord. Everyone in Discord is like, hey, I'm gonna be streaming in 5 minutes. We're like, no. SideQuesting's Game of the Year show. You gotta be watching.
How dare you? How dare you be in our Discord as we're live on the air?
True. Yeah, we do have a lot of people that like to go live on whatever day the Discord, the SideQuest goes live. I don't know.
It's like SideQuesting podcast starting at 9 o'clock. Everyone's like 8:50. I'm starting my stream.
Here comes Jeffrey with his
fucking Jeffrey.
All right, and then last, of course, Final Fantasy 14 and Endwalker. I played the entirety of Final Fantasy 14 this year.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Which is kind of wild. It was many hours. And actually explains why I didn't get to play any other games and why there's nothing else to be on my list. Because it is so much content. And even then, I kind of missed a whole lot because I was only doing the strictest of the main story quest. There's millions of lines of dialogue that I didn't read, which is probably for the best. My eyes hurt. They're old. But yeah, I don't know. Final Fantasy 14 is, and Endwalker specifically, is the payoff of content 8.5 years in the making. I don't know. It's if you're skipping it for any reason other than the fact of like, maybe I won't pay for the subscription, I guess. I don't know. There's very few good reasons I would probably say are valid enough to say, yeah, I'm going to skip this game. It's just play it for the main story quest alone. And It's good enough for that. It's so good. It's also a good MMO if that's your bag. If you're an MMO player and you're like, no, Final Fantasy 14, not for me, well, then you're a weirdo. Get out of here.
Complete weirdo.
Yeah. I don't. The problem is that I'm like, especially because I crammed 3 of these games into like the last week and a half. I'm very, very worried about recency bias completely overtaking me, because Outer Wilds made such a profound impact, and it's just that kind of game.
I'm going to have a very similar thing happen to me too, by the way. Yes.
Honestly, in Inscription, which I also did play 48 hours ago, I did that as in case it wasn't obvious that I wasn't working this week.
Sure.
That was basically a one sitting game, and Inscription almost made it onto my list despite me already going over, but it lost me. It's a very weird game, much like all of the other games that the developer makes, which includes stuff like the Hex,
Sure.
And
Unicorn Island or whatever.
Yeah, it's good, and it loses some. It gets a little. I don't know how to just. Again, I don't. One of those things where like, if you want to play it, I don't want to say too much because some of the ways that it is weird is very important to how the game operates. But it defies your expectations in interesting ways. And now it's I'm talking about it too much. And it's going to end up on my list, but yeah. Final Fantasy 14, I mean, if for no other reason other than the fact that it managed to keep my almost unilateral attention for as long as it did. God, I mean, games that I put more time into than some of the other ones didn't even make it on my list, like Monster Hunter Rise and Shin Megami Tensei 5, which were both also excellent, and receive, what's the word I'm looking for? Honorable mentions on my list. But all right, that's it. I talked enough.
Excellent. Well, good. Excellent. Awesome games on that list so far. I mean, JJ and Taylor, you guys both have games on your lists that I have on mine. But before we get to me, I want to get to JJ.
Oh, JJ.
So yeah, we went through Sam, we went through Taylor. I know JJ has a game that's at least one game that's on mine.
I'll be interested to know what yours is.
Yes. So I'm going to let you go now because I want to end with Zach over there because Zach always has like this big giant presentation with fireworks and all kinds of shit.
Zach's a better wordsmith than most of us are.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I'm gonna start off with I have my top 5, but I'm just gonna get my honorable mention out, like my number 6, which will be Cruisn Blast. I know it's a stupid game, but I fucking love Cruisn Blast, and I recommend anyone that has a Switch to get Cruisn Blast because it is the perfect. I have a few minutes. Let me just fucking. It's got the most ridiculous course layouts you've ever seen. It's like, I was attacked by the abominable snowman or whatever. Just that kind of crazy shit. And it's got some cool cars. Like you can be a fucking unicorn in this thing, and it's got a great soundtrack. It's just fun. It's stupid and fun, and I love that game. But my number 5 is Metroid Dread.
Okay, cool.
I love the 2D Metroids. This is, if it's not the best 2D Metroid, it's the second best by a hair. It's like neck and neck with Fusion as far as I think Fusion's the best Metroid game by a long shot. It's just so perfectly made. And Dread's probably more linear than I would have liked. It really just sort of walks you through it, and it's kind of hard to like get lost in Metroid Dread in a lot of ways, but still, it looks great, it plays great, it feels good. And when it was over, I just wanted another game right away, and it kind of bums me out that the next game is going to be Metroid Prime 4 because I like the Metroid Prime games, but they're definitely my least favorite Metroid games. I have a hard time. I finished them over the course of years, as opposed to single sitting. Kind of, Sure. I finished it within the year it came out or whatever. But yeah, I loved Metroid Dread, and it was well worth the decades wait of that name being around. So yeah, I'm glad that it exists, and I'm glad it's here. It's one of my absolute favorites of the year.
Excellent.
Number 4, Resident Evil Village.
Ooh.
Whoa.
I fucking love Resident Evil franchise. I've played them all, start to finish. There isn't one, and even the shitty ones, even like Survivor or whatever, I play all of those ones. And Resident Evil Village isn't like by any stretch of the imagination a perfect game. It's not even better than Resident Evil 7. I really, really love Resident Evil 7. That was a really spooky, scary game. And Resident Evil 8 kind of pulls back the spookiness significantly and makes it a much more Resident Evil 4 kind of experience, where it's like it's there's a lot more puzzle solving and just action set pieces. But they really kind of go crazy with it. Like a lot of the villains and stuff in this game are just way out there, and it's a cool wrap up to this arc of Resident Evil. Like this story is over and not at the same time. Like whatever the next Resident Evil game, if it's a follow up to this, won't like you're not going to be Ethan again. That's but
spoilers.
I was gonna say, why not?
But like the way it sort of molds
it molds. Wow, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah, molds. Pun not intended, but now it is. But like it takes the previous Resident Evil lore and sort of makes it work with this 7 and 8 storyline, because 7 didn't really feel like it had much connection to Resident Evil universe as a whole, and 8 they really sort of like figure out a way to make it all kind of come together in a fun way. I've played through it, like I'm currently playing through it right now on the hardest difficulty, which is not a thing I typically do, but that's just how much I like this game. So yeah, Resident Evil Village, definitely a good solid number 4 on my list.
Nice.
Number 3 is Hitman 3.
Whoa, you got some good picks. These are very different picks.
Yeah. Hitman 3 is fantastic. It's the way. So Hitman 1 and 2 are very, 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 very identical games. Like the level layouts and everything. Like it's new levels, but the same concept for each and every one of them. but that's fun. I love playing those levels over and over and over and over again and figuring out something new to do, something that I hadn't done before to get the hit or whatever. Hitman 3, continues the trend of being able to import all that shit into the game. So all 3 games are in there. And the storyline levels, like its emphasis on the story is really cool. Its campaign is really good. And it is the end of a trilogy. It really it wraps up nice and tight. And they actually do something different with the levels this time around. Everything's it's not just the same, like here's the go into the map and now you just here's your 1 or 2 targets and maybe there's a secondary objective. Like some of them are like having to like infiltrate underground laboratories like it's a Resident Evil game and destroying data. Or one of the coolest levels that I thought they did really well was, I think it's the 3rd level where you're getting into a nightclub and you're going in blind. You're going in usually they tell you who your target is. You're going into it without knowing who your target is. And so you have to sort of learn through context, like who you're going after. You can figure it out kind of early on. There's like, you found that earpiece, so now you can listen to radio chatter and try to figure stuff out. But for the most part, it's just like, okay, there are agents hidden throughout this level that you have to track down and kill. And they really gave you a lot more tools. There's a lot more ways to cause absolute chaos in this game. Like you can kill somebody with a grape press in the vineyard, that kind of shit, which is very fun.
It's interesting that because that game launched in January. So
do you know when it
furthest back?
Do you know when it launched and why I have such fond memories for this? This launched when I was down for 2 weeks and a half with COVID.
Oh, geez. So it was like, I hate to say perfect timing, but it was right at that time.
There could not have been a better time for this game to come out for me personally. I already love the franchise, and now I can just focus my entire attention to it for 10 days, which I absolutely did. It may be skewed, but I am still currently playing 3. So,
nice. And it's got the year 2. It's got other seasonal stuff that it does.
Yeah.
Are you excited for their Bond game?
Oh, absolutely. I can't imagine. I assume the Bond game's going to be just this, but Bond.
Sure.
With GoldenEye style objectives or whatever, So. Before I get to number 2, I do want to say that I have a VR game of the year, and that's Arcsmith.
Ooh. So it's not technically
it's not my top 5, but I feel like I play enough VR stuff, and I'm kind of the VR person here since I'm the only one that ever talks about VR games. I just want to say that Arcsmith is absolutely, if you have the means to play it, you must play Arcsmith. It uses the VR experience to its fullest effect for such a kind of simple concept. And
I love the live play session you did.
Yeah, I actually played it.
It actually managed to work somehow.
Yeah, against all odds, I was able to get that up and running to do a live play, and I don't know how that. It's great. Number 2, Forza Horizon 5.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a platforming game. I don't care what anyone will tell me. What will tell you, it's an open world platforming game. There are times I spend time in the open world more than I spend time in races in Horizon 5, because you see something and you want it, and sometimes you have to sort of put some brain power into like, how am I going to get up there? What car do I need to either buy or get into right now that is going to put me where I need to be? And that's just a good time for everybody. And it's a beautiful game. It is absolutely gorgeous. Even like, I'm playing it mostly on my Series X, but like, I have a pretty decent laptop that I'm playing it on, and it looks beautiful on the laptop. Like it shouldn't look as good as it does, but like Sam said earlier, the engine is just so like you could just beat the hell out of this engine, and it's like low spec kind of shit going on. But yeah, it's such a beautiful, fun, just pure fun. Just
is it going to get you to buy a racing wheel?
I have done the racing wheel thing before. And as much as I love using a racing wheel, I just don't have like that in me. Like I don't have the setup to really enjoy it to the full extent, and it'd be hard for me to get that setup in place. But I have had a racing wheel before, and I've lived that life, and that life is passed.
You've lived that life.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, I think Forza is better played on a controller, anyways.
The Horizon in particular, I think
Yeah.
like the motorsport games
Yeah.
play better with a wheel, but like Horizon it's more tuned to be a controller game than the others. It's not really designed to be a competitive racer. Like you're not going to see like the esports scene explode for Forza Horizon 5. It's not gonna be like Gran Turismo where it's like that. The only way to really and truly enjoy those games is to have like a setup. So yeah, Forza Horizon 5. We've talked enough about that. My game of the year is Guardians of the Galaxy. Never
Really
would have
good.
thought that coming in.
It's really fucking good.
I fucking love that game. Everything about it is just screams me. It's just like it's the perfect comic book game because it takes lore from the comics, and it pretty much, in terms of comics, it picks up would not be too far removed from like Annihilation, that stuff, where the Guardians were first formed, where this team that we know from the movies and everything was first formed. So there's still a fresh team sort of at the beginning of this game. And it is just like, especially on the heels of Avengers, to like, it was easy to write off Guardians of the Galaxy based off of it's Square Enix Marvel game, and they showed us 45 minutes of it on its first appearance, and we got sick of it almost immediately. But once you get into it, it is the single best written game I have played in a significant amount of time. The story is very tight. It's very warm. It's heartwarming, and a lot of times
It's very cute.
It's a very cute
game.
Yeah, you spend more time with the characters. It is, as much as I love the movies, it is so much better. That the characterizations are so much more well realized, and some of that comes with time. Some of that comes with they really do base them off the comic book counterparts. So yeah, I'm familiar with them too. And but a lot of it just comes from the writing. You spend a lot of time with these characters, and you spend a lot of personal time with these characters. And it very rarely kind of gets repetitive with sort of some of the like in action like dialogue is repetitive, but like all the scenes don't feel like you're just rehashing the same thing over and over again it's everything's just clever, it's smart, it's funny, it's heartwarming, it's you can't really talk about it too much without like spoiling some of the cool shit that happens in the game, because it really plays into the comic book lore a lot, and there are characters that pop up in this game that haven't appeared in, like, you see the tease right there. But like it really plays into the comic book lore a lot. So, but you don't have to know the comic books to get the full experience out of it, because it has just enough of the movie connections to be able to enjoy what these characters are doing, and it plays really well. It's like, despite it being like story-wise my favorite game of the year and everything, it plays really well. It's not breaking any new grounds or anything. It's just a really good, well-made third-person action game with that. It rewards you for kind of going off the beaten path to find collectibles and lore items and things. And
there's this part where, like, in the first level or so, where you just like go off and you find like items to like upgrade your stuff, but like the party will comment on you leaving. Every time. So you'll like walk away, and then they'll start talking shit like, well, I'm gonna go find something over here. It's like, and it's very natural. And it's just, I don't know how they were able to pull it off. It doesn't feel like forced.
And it's different every time. Like when you break off from the team to go like exploring on your own, and they get sassy with you for leaving because they're trying to accomplish something important here, but here you are just walking off like an idiot. But it also plays natural for the Peter Quill character that they've created here. Like, he looks like a douchebag, and kind of everyone treats him like a douchebag, and he acts like a douchebag, but he's also a nice guy. At the end of the day, he's just kind of, and so everyone just treats him like that, and
that's like the inherent story of the comic book versions of these characters. Is like they're all struggling with different conflicts on the inside. Like that's a juxtaposition to how they are on the outside, and the movies don't really do that well. But the comics does it amazingly, and the game also does it amazingly as well. So
so there we go. Guardians of the Galaxy, my
excellent
favorite game of the year. By a significant amount
Excellent.
too. As much as I love Forza Horizon 2, I just love Guardians so much that it was always my number one after I finished playing it. So there you go.
That's awesome.
That's my
Very
weird
cool.
ass list.
That's your weird ass list. Well, I'm gonna go because, like I said, we're gonna end with Zach. I do want to mention a couple games that didn't make my top list. Right?
Astral Chain.
Astral Chain. So I had a chance to review
Traveler.
Bravely Default 2. No, there was so there's obviously this game which I have put in probably, let's see, I picked it up in the Epic giveaway games thing, and I probably put in about 40 to 50 hours already, and that's Loop Hero. Honorable mention. You guys know I love clicker games, and this is just a freaking clicker game.
Boy,
this is a clicker boy, and it's just so good. It's well done.
Oh my god, Loop Hero was also this year.
I know,
dude. So I actually Loop Hero deserved a mention on my list too because, so as if you guys recall, my daughter was born very early in 2021, and Loop Hero came out. God, what month was it? Was it like the middle? Was it early summer, late spring?
April?
Yeah, I'd say late spring sounds right for Loop.
Late. Anyway, so my daughter obviously was still very young, and I had a buddy who reached out to me and was like, "Hey, are you okay? Because you've been playing Loop Hero like 10 hours a day for the past 4 days." And it's because it was the easiest thing to do when my daughter required so much on and off attention, because Loop Hero, I just let that baby run.
Just let it run.
And it was also
over, and then you look back.
Yeah, it's like oh god, I really need to build stuff, and then you just pause it. And yeah, Loop Hero was a lot of fun. It was great.
So it's obviously it's on PC. I got it on the Epic Game Store. I am definitely getting this on the Switch. It's a
good Switch game.
It's a perfect for the Switch game.
It came out in March.
Okay.
Oh my god!
And it just came out earlier this month for.
Yeah, no wonder. Yeah, my daughter was born in February, so.
And this is gonna be one of those games that lands perfectly on mobile. When it eventually gets to mobile, it'll be a great mobile game. So yeah, honorable mention, Loop Hero. Another honorable mention that I want to mention, is let me hide this here. A game so I've been like mad playing a ton of games this week to catch up, and just like everything that I could find that I had bought over the Black Friday and stuff that was meant to be a game of the year thing. Yeah, Deathloop. Deathloop was also this year. Did you guys remember that?
It's definitely an honorable mention on my list. Like I enjoyed the hell out of Deathloop.
It's one of those games where if I had played it, it would be on my list, and I just didn't even make it there.
I love what Arcane does with games. They build these beautiful worlds. The story of this is really cool. There's enough of the time loop aspect to this. But one thing I noticed, and I kid you not, I shit you not, this is why I was having issues with this game, is because the font and the text is so freaking tiny in this, and you can't adjust it. You can't. I've tried everything.
Yeah. Classic
and I've been having issues, and so that to me was actually a downer, the whole accessibility thing, because my eyesight has been getting bad over the last 2 years for this staying at home thing, and you know, that it combined with there's like some slight control stuff with this that you can kind of screw up if you press the wrong button with the gamepad. But I enjoy everything about it. Other than that, it's just there were just a couple little hangups. But
it's the
anyways,
craziest thing with this game that none of the trailers really lead you to know how funny Deathloop is. Like
immediately,
none of the marketing did at all.
It's
right.
It's so funny. It
starts with a joke.
It really
is.
It
like doesn't slow down.
It starts
either.
Yeah. It's good. It's good stuff. So yeah, that was the honorable mention. But I'm gonna and one more honorable mention was
Dali's top 10 list.
Yeah, Kena, Bridge of Spirits. Really enjoyed Kena. That was a game. If you guys listened, I didn't love it at first. I kind of felt that it felt samey, but then it really grew on me as I started playing it. And by the end, by the time I completed the game, I was really in love with it. It's an adventure game, an action adventure game. There really isn't anything super special about it, but just great character, great visuals. Here it is. My number 5 game. I'm just gonna play let me play the video here because I think that will be easier. So another game that came out really earlier in the year, and it took me by surprise as to how well executed this game within a game is, and that's Bowser's Fury.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's so good. Bowser's Fury is the Mario game that it's the evolution of Mario that I have to
play Bowser's Fury, don't I?
It is.
Yeah.
It's like I think JJ you mentioned it. It takes some of the coolest stuff of Odyssey and Mario 64 and some of their stuff. It's basically like you are running around the overworld of Mario 64 or anything else, and that's how you're solving. That's where you're solving everything.
It kind of feels like what would have been the natural evolution from like those overworld boards that 3 in World were introducing. Or like Mario Land 2 or whatever. Like it's just like those game boards just evolved into their own game. So
it's visually it's great. The story is a Mario game. There is no story. But the cat suit does awesome things in this. The kaiju Mario is a great touch. It's just I loved everything about this. I thought it was just really well done. And I want to see a full game of this, not just this like 4 to 6 hour adventure, but give me like
concept.
Give me something more substantial. So that was loved it. My number 4, loading it up here. My number 4 is a game I did not expect to like as much as I did because I'm not necessarily a fan of this genre, and I never really was a fan of this series. But you know what? I gotta say that Game Pass be damned, but freaking Halo Infinite, man, this thing surprised me. Hit the play button there. This sucker surprised me. Was not expecting to like it as much as I did. I played a ton of the multiplayer. I'm blasting through the campaign right now. It's still Halo-esque Halo, but they've done enough to evolve and tweak and perfect certain aspects of it.
So you say, are you saying it the combat's evolved? Is that what you're saying?
The combat has evolved. No, it's the opening set piece is you're on this ship, right? It kind of takes place right after this. You're on this
so cool.
Ship. It's so cool. And even when the ship is like falling apart and you're trying to get off the ship, I mean, I'm ratcheting across with my grappling across with the grappling hook. I'm like shooting at guys as I'm flying. It's like it is an action movie. There are aspects of this game that really do feel like an action movie, and I thought that was cool. And then on top of that, they actually throw in this really nicely done open world-ish feel to it, this mission-based structure that kind of pushes it away from the traditional Halo stuff into some almost Destiny-like aspects. I think the only reason that this didn't get higher up for me was that you still deal with brutes and grunts and enemies doing the Halo shuffle, which is which is the they stand, they see you, and then they do a sidestep and hide, and then they sidestep back out, and then they sidestep away. I'm like,
they do be doing that.
Do people never go to military school? Like, it's the world is not fore, aft, and left, right. So, and I don't know if part of me wonders if 343 and Microsoft like purposefully design these characters to just be. There's no AI. It's literally just go left, go right, go over here, go back, go left, go right.
They're grunts for a reason. I mean,
yeah, but it's that Halo shuffle. It's a Halo, and that always gets me. But I freaking loved it.
And on the heroic difficulty, the grunts kind of can fuck you up. Like, they'll wait till your shields get down, and they'll just bum rush you with nades out, like, and they'll just kill you. So yeah.
But it's
I really like it. I had a buddy who played it on Legendary, and apparently once you hit Legendary, every grenade that a grunt throws is just a fucking laser beam. Nothing that they don't miss. But yeah, no, the adding the grappling hook to Halo Infinite. I mean, it sounds like such a stupid thing. Wow, they added movement. Yeah, it's like, but every part of what they added feels good.
Yes.
And the small design elements that were added to Halo Infinite were done exquisitely well. Sound design is really good. The overall aesthetic design is very good. I mean, it looks like most of the other Halos, but I think sound design definitely really, really killer.
Yep. The grappling hook like adds texture to the gameplay. It's like how it feels. Like it makes it like it makes a shuffle less more of a shuffle and more of a like, I'm just gonna zip around and go do something stupid.
Yeah, you basically like you just get to dodge the shuffle because you're like, all right, listen, I'm just gonna grappling hook you instead.
But I think both of you actually I think everybody kind of mentioned it thus far is the writing and the voice acting for the little enemies that you bump you like surprise guys and they freak out. They're like, oh crap, he's here, run, crap, I'm gonna get him. No, you get him. It's
dude, I just had one where
so awesome.
the grunts line was, you're delaying my inevitable death. It's like, I mean, it's so good.
Not a Halo person, really enjoying.
I really appreciate the grunts sort of ineptitude at being soldiers in this game. They're really funny.
They one of the things that they added were propaganda towers, and a lot of the propaganda is voiced by a grunt.
Yeah.
And at one point he's like, the grunt's talking about how people that fall asleep on the job are going to get disciplined, and he's like, unlike me, who just happened to wake up, and you're just like, that's the whole propaganda bit. And you're just, and then you blow up the tower and you get points. Okay, next mission.
It's awesome. But I love that aspect, and I love how the game has. And somebody else mentioned it. Just there's a great flow and a great motion using the grappling hook. Another game that has a great flow and a great motion, which I think succeeds a little better, is Metroid Dread. And I freaking. The motion of this game, the movement is so cool that I'm not a speedrunner, but I found myself speedrunning and living through these courses, and it felt like courses, not necessarily stages. Once you get the hang of it, what kind of to what expect as you're kind of jumping across as you move. The movement aspect of Metroid Dread is just phenomenal.
Can't wait for the Summoning Salt documentary on Dali.
Yeah, it's just the battles are great. Like the one-on-one fights with the with just all the different enemies, like the gold dudes, Kraid with it's just, and it's hard. It's hard as fuck, but that's totally okay because the Metroid is a rhythm game more than anything else, and you can get through this playing it by understanding when to tap a button, when to use that grappling hook, when to use a bomb, how to launch the bomb, and then jump after the bomb, and then spin, and then shoot back. It's like, it is totally a rhythm action game.
It's that underwater boss fight where you're like having to like, whoa, and grappling hook, go to the other side. Like you're just doing this dance with this one boss.
It's a dance. Totally. Oh yeah. And it's so good. It's just, it's God, next to maybe Metroid Prime 1, it's my favorite Metroid. I've played Fusion. I'm kind of playing Super Metroid in the background, but I love what they did with this. I just wish it had less text because it's very text for the lore aspect. It's very text heavy, but okay, it's great. I would recommend it. If you have a Switch, buy it. It's so good.
Can we just also, the animations in that game are phenomenal.
Oh,
like
God,
there's
so
many small animations that don't need to be there that they just threw in there.
It really is. The lighting is awesome. The animations, there's visor stuff that's really cool that surprised me. It's terrific. It is hands down the best Switch game this year, maybe of the last couple of years. It's kudos to Mercury Steam for all the issues that they had. Obviously we know, but they did a great job. My number 2 game, it's been mentioned a lot. I'm a car guy. And Forza Horizon 5, it's the Tony Hawk's Forza Horizon game. And I freaking love it for that aspect. I mean,
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater Horizon 4.
Exactly. And it's like, it's racing game, it's sim, it's open world, it's social, it is extreme sports, it's beautiful. It is the best racing game series, hands down. It's surpassed, in my opinion, the Gran Turismo game to surpass Forza Motorsport, the general, because this is pure fun and it's about adrenaline, all that kind of stuff. It's so cool to be driving and then out of nowhere, JJ's car is in front of me, like taking up the road. that a-hole. Or Sam will just like zip past me because Sam's been playing this like a maniac. So. I almost listed Hot Wheels in my honorable mentions, but I think because this game actually gives you like true racing. It's just, this is Hot Wheels for adults, and it's just so well done. So
Hot Wheels is a really, really good game. It's like Cruisn Blast was my honorable. Hot Wheels is a really, really good game, but it's just like I can't throw another fucking Forza just eclipses these games in such a massive.
I'd love to see a Hot Wheels version of Forza where it's just a giant Hot Wheels park and people.
Oh, I mean, that's what they did.
They did that.
Yeah, Horizon
they did that. They did it. Yeah, they did it. Yeah. I have that deal.
And they did the Lego one in the last one.
And the Lego one, yeah. Okay, so now this next game, my game of the year, which you guys have been trying to get me to play a lot of games this year. Zach has, watching Zach play a couple games and talk about them nonstop. Watching you guys talk about a very certain role-playing game that you guys want me to start, and there's all kinds of games out there that JJ's been a bad influence. Sam just plays one game at a time for eternity, and it's just golf.
I can't wait for this to be Peppa Pig,
and it's Peppa. My game of the year is NFTs. No, I'm just kidding. Roblox, Genshin Impact. It's a game that I absolutely did not, and I haven't completed this game.
Nick All-Star Brawl.
I absolutely did not see this game remotely on my radar because I didn't think I had a bad vibe going into it, and that bad vibe turned into something that mesmerized me and made me absolutely fall in love with it.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And it freaking blew my mind at how insanely fun and well written and well acted. The acting is great. The interpersonal stories, from the onset, you find out that Drax is still pissed off at Gamora for being the daughter of Thanos, which barely gets like much talk about in the actual movies, but it's a core aspect of his character. The action's great. The set pieces are wonderful. Again, opening set pieces.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous on a 4K screen. It's gorgeous in 1080p. I'm playing it on a PS5. It's fantastic. It's everything I've wanted out of an action adventure with a little bit of RPG, this comic book game, and I'm completely surprised at what they were able to accomplish with this. And holy heck, kudos! Was it Crystal D that put this one together? Kudos, man!
I know it's Montreal.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I was Montreal, not Crystal. I'm flabbergasted at just how fucking fun this game is. It's so good.
I like that this game gives you choices that don't really, in terms of like gameplay stuff, doesn't really mean anything, but they're like lead to fun callbacks later on, depending on what you choose, and it can change some of the gameplay stuff, but not like it even changes the ending of the game depending on like a decision you make in the middle, like, but they're like low impact choices. It's not like Mass Effect or something. Well, even Mass Effect's choices even in the end.
It does have that. It has that Mass Effect-ish feel to it, which is what it's got. The feel of like I'm huge into the Expanse. It's got the Expanse feel, but the humor is just the Yama. It's it's God, it's so well done.
I love that they have a fake band in the game, and you can get like the sound. Band. You can get like their album on vinyl right now. It's like hell yeah,
it's awesome. Guardians of the Galaxy surprised me. I freaking fell in love with it. Yeah, there we go. So
cool.
That leaves one last person to talk about their
Jeff
games.
Grubb, come on in.
Jeff Grubb, come on in. By the way, before I let you go, Zach. I gotta tell you guys about this dumbass dream that I had two nights ago.
So anyway, Jeff Grubb walks in.
Jeff Grubb walks in. No, it's a gaming industry dream. I dreamt that I was in Japan and in Kyoto visiting Nintendo's headquarters, and I went to a shooting range with Shigeru Miyamoto. And he had an AK-47, and he loved to blast shit with his AK-47. And he said that he was eventually going to make a game where you use an AK-47 to kill things. And
remember,
we end up getting
in the original pitch for Mario, he had a gun.
Yeah, we ended up getting caught like by terrorists or something happens, and Shigeru Miyamoto saves the day with his AK-47. There you go. Bizarre ass dream. No idea why I had that, but
crazy.
Moving on.
Dali, this is not going to get you invited to the Game Awards next year, Dali.
No, definitely not. Zach.
Okay, let me share my screen. Share screen.
Oh God, that's right. Zach always has something prepared.
I'm adding it. Here we go. Oh, I love it. In this presentation, I will tell you.
Okay, but first I have to talk about my honorable mentions.
Okay.
So we got Halo Infinite. That's probably like my 10th game of the year. Then you got Psychonauts 2. Then we got Forza Horizon 5. Then we got The Good Life, which is that new sweary game.
Oh yeah,
which is really cool.
God, I forgot about that one.
And we have an airport for aliens, currently run by dogs, which is a pretty fun game. It's about an airport for aliens ran by dogs, and you're trying to walk around and figure out how to get on the airplane, but nothing's in English. So it's like, oh God, what do I do? And there's dogs everywhere. So yeah, it's fun. And Shin Megami Tensei 5. So that's kind of like my runner-ups. Now I can get into the real business. Number 5. This is Monster Hunter Stories 2. This game is really good. It's the best like monster collecting game I think I've ever played. It does an interesting job of having a good story where like basically this Rathalos is the cause of destruction of like your village. So it destroys everything, and you're tasked with raising it and kind of making sure it doesn't like fuck stuff up in the future. But people end up hating you, and you have to like go off on an adventure and like take them. And you go to all these different areas, and you get to train these monsties, is what they're called. Stupid, but you get to train them. And you like
not a made up name. That's literally what the game calls
them.
them.
Monstars.
Not the monsters.
Monsties. So you're hanging out, and you like the way you do, like, it's a simple system where you get a monstie, and they have these abilities to how you traverse around the maps.
Mhm.
It's just like a really simple way where you can like mount them, and they're like, oh, this one can jump really high, this one can break walls, this one can sense treasure, this one can find eggs, and that alone like really makes it more than like a Pokemon game where you don't really interact with them, and this is like you're having an adventure with these dudes that you just like love, and you find these eggs, and you like you go into caves, you find eggs, and you hatch them, and depending on the pattern and the color, it's like a different type of monster will come out. And through that whole system, you get to like crossbreed monsters and like bring genes over from different monsters and like create like the most perfect badass dude that you can. And yeah, the story's genuinely pretty good too. It's a fun, it's like not fun because it's kind of depressing sometimes, but it's really good. So definitely check that out if you want to play like a JRPG Monster Hunter. Oh, and it also has all the Monster Hunter stuff too. Like you kill things to get their parts to build your weapons and your armor and all that. Yeah, so it's packed full.
I do like that and it's also Monster Hunter is like
Yeah.
the afterthought of the game.
Number 4 is going to be Eastward. This game is a very unique game. A lot of the games this year for me have like a common theme of like making commentary on stories or culture. Like a lot of them kind of do that, at least after this. But yeah, so this game is a text-heavy, dungeon-crawling, post-apocalyptic Zelda game. It's a really like heart-wrenching drama between these two characters, this guy and girl. And he's kind of tasked with protecting her and bringing her eastward. And it's what's interesting about the game is it's in a post-apocalypse, but it has this meta commentary of like how societies or cultures like latch on to like certain things, and this society has latched onto a video game that's a lot like Earthbound, and you can play that game actually within this game. So you're playing the game within the game, and the characters and the people in the world are talking about the thing that you're playing. So it kind of just adds this cool meta level of commentary of like indie games, gaming in general, and like the world itself. And it's just really interesting. And it's a super long, like 30, 40 hour long RPG that's also a Zelda game and has a lot of text and story. But yeah, it's very special. It's made by a Chinese dev, like 5 people. Definitely worth checking out. And then number 3 is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy is like, yeah, it's another special game. Like I'm the type of person that really just has a distaste for like multi-million-dollar like AAA Hollywood blockbuster type of games, but this game is that, but it also has a soul to it, like a heart. It's a very just like, it's crazy how it's just a heartwarming adventure with friends it's about family, it's about loss, it's about love, it's about discovering yourself. It's just that there's a lot of things in the game that I really dig.
It has a mechanic where you help your teammates get past their trauma to unlock their ultimate abilities. Like it's like it's a game that was definitely made with like big Hollywood, like, oh, this is gonna make all the money, but then the people are responsible for making it were like, well, let's actually do something with it. I mean, this game's gonna get made no matter what. Let's just actually do something with it.
The way they handle Rocket and Groot is really it's so interesting. It's because it's so subtle. Way they handle Rocket's anxiety with death and him not being enough and him just kind of struggling with this like anxiety, and then his love for Groot and how they'll like talk back and forth, and you can tell Groot loves Rocket because Groot has like a mesh wire on his chest, so Rocket can climb up on top of him. Makes it easier for him, and the way Rocket stands up for Groot in a certain part of the game, like its second mission, or it's like there's just a lot of things. This like genuinely almost brought me to tears, which is like not hard to do. Admittedly, like I cry easy, but
exactly.
not at a game like this. I was just it's great. I hope other studios of this caliber take note. Like, hey, maybe we can do some nice, fun games and not do the sad dad or angry lesbian games that we've been doing. So, so that's my number 3. It would have been my number 1 if these other 2 didn't come out, but number 2 is Final Fantasy Endwalker. It's
wow, that's your number 2.
That's my number 2. It's gonna be short. I'm gonna get a little spoilery because I feel like it's important to kind of like nail how interesting this expansion is, a story. But yeah, it's a game of like the story is about persistence through pain and trauma and the actions that people take and the way their actions can affect the people around them. That's what the story is about in this expansion, but it kind of applies that lens to these godlike creators of the Final Fantasy 14 world. So you get to see that angle applied to the creators. And it's like the last half of the expansion is all about this really intimate examination of pursuing happiness through the dark and finding out what makes you really who you are in the face of utter despair. Like, it's so good. So definitely check that game out. And it's somehow an online MMO, which is crazy. But yeah, my GOTY of the year is Cruelty Squad. This game,
there was never a doubt in my mind.
Never a doubt.
This game, I've been talking about this game since March, and my love and understanding of this game has changed every month. Like, I keep finding things within myself or just like within like general like life that I am learning from this game. And I know it sounds crazy, but I'm going to try my best.
You could not have picked a better like layout of images for this game.
I know. Like, yeah, see, power and misery traversing the grid of death. Some people are just natural winners, not me. The police department is a business like any other. Divine light severed. You are flesh automaton animated by neurotransmitters, which is true. But the way that Cruelty Squad is a statement. It's a game, but it's also a deconstruction of video games. It's also a deconstruction of society, like where we are right now in society, in our culture, especially American culture. It's a direct rip and tear of
Did we lose him?
I think we lost him.
The Cruelty Squad.
It's very meta.
They got to him before you could say his full truth.
We're sorry, Zach.
Where did you go?
His PowerPoint presentation was too powerful.
As he returns, I'd like to throw in that I totally forgot that Ratchet and Clank got released this year.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So I'd like to replace Mario Golf with Ratchet and Clank.
That sounds valid.
Oh, there he goes entirely.
There he goes. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to play Ratchet and Clank. We forgot that game launched this year too.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, it was so good I forgot it existed. No, it honest Ratchet and Clank honestly is a very good game. Absolutely nothing like anything on Zach's list, so it feels weird to be taking this opportunity to fill the void of him missing with it. But man, action platforming looks great on the PlayStation 5. It doesn't use the DualSense controllers as much as possible.
Zach says to stall because his internet got unplugged.
Awesome.
Is that still a thing? Is that still?
So when he comes back, are we going to tell him that Forza has won Game of the Year, or what's the plan here?
Well, Psychonauts 2. No, it's you know what? It's interesting because
it honestly sounds like Metroid should win since it was on everybody's list.
Really sounds like Bowser's Fury.
Hey, I tell you what, he'll be back in a second, but I say let's not give Game of the Year to one game, and let's give Game of the Year to Xbox Games Pass. Can we all just agree with that?
I will say Games Pass has received the most airtime of any video game.
True.
Every single one of us is like on our list has at least one or two games that we are playing strictly through Game Pass.
Yeah. Is Cruelty Squad on Games Pass?
Oh, no. They would never put it on Games Pass. No.
That totally goes against.
There's no way. No, that was a Steam only thing, I believe.
Yeah. It's a good
There he is. There he is.
Let me get my screen back. What was the last thing y'all heard?
We don't remember. We
don't remember. No.
Tangent. We kind of sat here. We kind of sat here in silence, thinking like, "Who's the one that froze? Is it Zach or is it any of us?" And then
very awkward silence.
Okay, yeah,
and just a lot of clicking.
My dog ran over the router. Okay,
your dog ate your homework. So plausible.
Okay, so Cruelty Squad. It's been a game since I've been talking about for months. But it's the way it takes this. I'll just start from the beginning so I can just get it off. So it's a game I've been talking about for months, blah, blah, blah. Besides this an anarchic representation and complete ignorance of the rules of like games and language of video games, it takes this weird anarchic idea of like, against the man, against the powers that be, and it makes a competent video game that doesn't look competent. It doesn't look like how you expect a good game to look, which is its point. I kind of hate talking about this game because it makes me feel like a snob, like, oh yeah, like it does this, but that's the point. But it's a piece of art, which like sucks to say, but that's why I love it, because it's so against the grain. It's the most like poignant representation to me and my like worldview of how I see the current world, the way the US is right now, the way the world exists. Like this accurately represents everything that I personally like hold dear. So it's just really interesting to kind of dig into my own psyche and find things out about myself. And there's even quotes from different economists, different people who do philosophy thought or like write about things, that are quotes in this game that I've dug up and found and went and read their works, and reading all that made me learn more about the game and learn more about myself and the way I see the world. It's just been an interesting journey for me with this game. And I think for a lot of other people too, is a lot of people like this game because of all these weird things.
Except for David Jaffe.
Yeah, David Jaffe doesn't like it for whatever reason.
And he's bad at Metroid. Those are the two things we learned about him this year.
Yeah, it's not just a game. It's a truly like piece of interactive art that like transcends this medium of games. Just kind of like lives in my brain. It's this goo that kind of like seeps into everything that I consume. And it's very strange.
It's your symbiote.
It's my Spider-Man symbiote suit thing. Yeah, it's Cruelty Squad does an exemplary job of pointing out and challenging ideas in society through funny quotes like this on the screen.
Through putting in a room full of Funko Pops, through
that Funko Pop shit. That's so good.
There's a couple other real bangers out there. It's just, but then you remember that it's an allegory for how terrible some things truly are, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right, that is bad.
Yeah,
it's the inherent like story or message with Cruelty Squad is like that. It's this idea that the only way you can become a millionaire, become rich, is by being ruthless and by treating others as non-human. Like that's kind of the inherent value that this game presents. And it's like that's like if I was to like boil this game down to like one sentence, it would be Cruelty Squad presents the idea that only the truly ruthless and inhuman can achieve capitalist godhood, aka become a millionaire, and that only a high net worth individual can take a place in God's community in heaven, presenting the new age religion, the CEO Bitcoin mindset is the opposite of becoming enlightened. That's kind of what this game is, and it's such a crazy time capsule for like the 2010s, and I love it. And I can't wait to see what this dude does next, because he's got a brain on him that I just want to like pick at. And yeah, you'll be trapped here forever.
such a bizarre.
If you showed this to somebody, what would their first thought be of what's going on?
What the fuck is this?
Why are you showing me screenshots of a video game that came out 20 years ago?
Yeah, what's this?
30 years ago.
What's this Dreamcast game? But yeah, that's Cruelty Squad, but it's definitely the game.
Let's see what his porn tabs are before he.
It's definitely game of the decade. I don't know about game of the year, but it's game of the decade. And that's it for me.
Excellent. Well, I guess it's time to choose our.
There's no like easy way to do this game of the year this year.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
I mean, three of us have it extremely high on our list, but
then Forza 5 is extremely high on a lot of lists.
4 out of 5. It was like it's there on 4 out of 5 lists. Metroid Dread, that was on several lists.
Cruelty Squad's on 2.
On 2.
Forza is on 3 lists because Zach had it as an honorable mention, which doesn't count.
Yes.
Taylor didn't have it on it. So Forza's on 3. GOG is on 3. Final Fantasy 14 is on 2 of them. Cruelty Squad's on 2 of them. Metroid Dread is on 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. But it's relatively low on those.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I don't feel like, as much as I love Metroid Dread, I just don't think it's like hold it up on a pedestal. Like it's a participation trophy at this point, really. I mean, it just happened to be on everyone's list because I mean, there are a lot of games this year, but not a lot of like.
I think what that does is speaks to Dread's universal accessibility as a good game.
Yeah.
So I added point values, 5 points for the top game, then 4 point, 3, 2, 1 down. The game that got the most points, it's a tie between Guardians of the Galaxy and Forza Horizon 5. With 13 points each.
2 games I didn't play. I officially step out of the way of the conversation.
But that doesn't include Zach's honorable mention. He had it in there, which is, whatever.
I did that strategically. I knew it. I was like, I'm not putting this in my top 5.
And then it's after that it's Final Fantasy 14. Only 2 people had it, and then Metroid is right after that. But it's a tough one.
Okay, fine. We'll give it to Nintendo's online expansion pass.
Just twisting my arm very well.
Super Mario 64 wins again.
Happy Home Designer DLC it is.
I'm really I don't know. It feels like it's between Forza and Guardians of the Galaxy.
They're both phenomenal top tier games for completely different reasons.
Exactly.
Both will make you cry. You can run into a giant tree in both of them.
I'm okay giving it to both. I'm fine saying it's a split,
I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. It just feels cheap at the end of the day, but at the same time,
it does.
Like
they're such different games that
Taylor hasn't played it. Sam hasn't played GOG. It's tough to make that decision. And fucking homeboy Aaron didn't bother waking up. Too busy with a real career. He probably would have picked Final Fantasy 14. Anyway,
I would have given you a couple more points for Endwalker.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14 would have been in this conversation if he was here.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do we think should be? I'm leaving it open. The floor is open, guys. State your case.
Hypothetically, if I had played both, I would have picked Guardians of the Galaxy.
Hypothetically,
I think in terms of just like Forza is almost a games as a service situation at this point. Like it's going to keep going, and Forza Horizon is it's a perpetual game. Guardians of the Galaxy is sort of a standalone game. Is just like a unique, interesting release this year that kind of shouldn't even shouldn't exist and you shouldn't be in the picture, but somehow they pulled it off, and it's inexplicable to me in a lot of ways. But like we have a track record of comic book video games being the game of the year. So.
True.
Yeah. I mean, I hear JJ's point on Forza Horizon is like the 5th game of a long running series, and technically if you consider the like mainline games, like it's like what, number 12, 13. So it's had a lot of time to really sort of build itself up and become what it is now, where Guardians was I remember the first time I saw that game was just a giant groan fest, being like, oh boy, you guys really thought that after the just ravaging success of the Avengers that we thought we should go with the niche Guardians of the Galaxy here. I am totally fine with saying that Guardians of the Galaxy wins our game of the year. However, I just want a side note to say that I find just about 98% of Guardians of the Galaxy content unbearable. I have never liked them. I hate Star-Lord and the whole idea of him and being this edgy teen that never grew up. And I have no nostalgia for cassette tapes and the 80s music that he listens to while blasting through space. But I will say that game certainly shook things up for people, have made people that agree with that sentiment say, actually, the Guardians aren't too bad. And I will say when that game hits Games Pass, I can't wait to try it. But until then, I will not be seeking out Guardians of the Galaxy. So as long as we're okay with an asterisk saying, if you hate Guardians content, maybe pass it. I'm fine with Guardians winning.
I will say this. Maybe Guardians gets a point because there is no Chris Pratt in this version.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Well then, ladies and gentlemen,
and they also don't, and they don't lean onto the Guardians stuff that you expect them to. Thanos is not a player in this game, which you'd expect him to be. Right.
Well, that says it.
I even wrote like a hit piece about this game when it
I know.
got shown off. I hated it. I was like, dude, this game is shit.
Like I was like when we were, because we were doing a live stream when they were announcing that thing.
Oh my god, we could, and they just would not stop.
They would not stop
talking
fucking
about
talking about it. It was like 40 because it was E3 week, right? It was the Ubisoft or the Square thing, and it was like the only thing they were really showing off. And we like, I was like optimistic because that's just give me comic, thank you. But even then, I was like, please stop with this. This is the most generic ass thing you've ever shown, and you're Square Enix. Like, you're already having a hard enough time with the Avengers game that came out like a couple months ago.
Agreed.
Yeah. So
this is the perfect solid 7 in a way when you kind of think about it.
It's that PAX panel we keep talking about. It's the
PAX panel.
7. Yeah.
They tend to end up winning our game of the year. It's like, you know what? It's not offensive. It's greatly I'm very glad that I took up JJ's recommendation on this, because he was really excited about it, and it was on sale for like $20 or whatever the price was. So I dove in, and man, I do not want to play anything else right now besides go back to. Well, of course, I have Loop Hero going for like 6 hours in the background, somehow destroying my poor MacBook. By the way, it's awesome. Loop Hero works on my Mac. That's really cool. It's okay. It's Guardians of the Galaxy. Square gets it 2 years in a row. Square Enix takes the.
At least Square. If it wasn't Final Fantasy 14, Square at least still gets the nod.
Yes, there you go.
What the fuck was last year's game again? I forget already.
Final Fantasy 7.
Was it? Yeah,
I don't think I was part of that discussion.
It was.
Yeah, before that, it was Spider-Man.
Aaron immediately just kind of poked his head in and was like, "It's on all of our lists. Should we just?"
I probably would have screamed "Death Stranding" as loud as possible over and over again.
Yeah,
over Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Same, but
from the same guy who cannot stand Guardians of the Galaxy comes the guy who's kind of okay with Spider-Man.
Gents, that was fun. Awesome list. I got everything written up here. I'm gonna do a nice big old posting of all this stuff. Awesome games. It was we didn't get everything that we thought 2021 was going to bring us, obviously because of the pandemic and everything else. But we got some real good gems. We got some surprises. You guys got me interested in starting Final Fantasy 14 whenever they let me one day.
You still can't buy it.
Still can't buy it.
Nope. And
I booted it up the other day, and it was like the queue was ridiculous. I'm like, well, I guess I'll just play Kingdom Hearts instead, and that's what I did.
And you got into Kingdom Hearts.
I can't wait to see what next year's like competition will
it's
be.
Next
year looks fucking ridiculous, and I don't know.
And there are plenty of games
game of the year.
Yeah, there you go. There are plenty of games that have not been announced. There's a lot of rumors, like the BioShock remake supposedly next year, Dead Space next year.
I mean, remakes don't count, right?
There's always a light tower.
I said remakes don't count, right? Oh, I mean, or remasters don't count.
Remakes count because we gave a remake
the Final Fantasy
year.
But the Final Fantasy 7 remake is like
it's an entirely different game. It is like
it's like, hey, we took the story and made a different game.
Played it fast. It's like the 70s King Kong movie. It's like, I guess technically it's King Kong, but
there's still a big ape in there.
Yeah.
Thank you, lovely dudes, for all this great time that you spent together. It was a journey.
I know what my next year's game of the year is going to be.
It's just part 2 right there. It's the Windjammer's dose. Taylor, thank you very much. It was 2 hours, but it didn't feel like 2 hours.
No, it really didn't.
Yeah, it cruised right along.
Yeah, we can find you at Taylor Bliss.
Yeah.
In the Discord. You can find all of us in the Discord, obviously.
Yeah.
The SideQuesting Discord.
JJ. Twitter is not the best place to find it.
Twitter is not the best place. We're always angry on Twitter.
Yeah, it's always dark and angry. Discord,
find the Discord.
Yeah,
there's some good stuff. If you want to see some of the fastest news posts or some of the best shit posts, like Zach is just on his timing is impeccable with that kind of stuff. JJ, where can we find you?
The_double_J, but again, I don't need your follow. And
But how about you leave that shit to yourself?
Yeah.
You know what? Don't follow me in the darkness.
I made jokes about the Spider-Man NFT I got with seeing the movie from AMC, and my DMs have been absolutely flooded with people trying to buy my Spider-Man NFT off.
No shit. There you go. You can buy a Xbox or PlayStation or one of the Atari VCS consoles, which is on sale right now.
On sale right now, yeah. Or Disney Compendium. The Christmas episode goes up New Year's Day because that's just where my life is. And there we go. Yeah, that's it.
Excellent. Zach, where can we find you, buddy?
You can find me at OKQuest on Twitter. Please follow me.
I'm desperate.
I'm one follower away from 380. So
nice.
Is that an important number to you?
No, but
it's just a round number.
Yeah.
Feels comfortable.
That's it.
That's it. Sam, we can't find you anywhere except in the Discord sometimes.
Yeah, well, since I yelled, you can catch me on the track last week. We're going to be more low-key this week and say that I will see you in Leeway on January 6th for the start of the Lantern Rite Festival.
Nice.
So I'll catch you out there in Genshin Impact. I'm sure there's an activity that if we're friends, I can send you stuff. So find me in Leeway. I can't wait until everybody switches from Final Fantasy over to Genshin Impact. And
as God intends. Yep.
As our Chinese overlords dictate. So
all hail Supreme Emperor.
I do have a great story about Genshin Impact. My daughter's in the other room. I don't know if she can hear me. Can you hear me? All right, she can hear me. She's like, yeah. So she gets $25 gift card for Christmas for Apple iTunes, and she wants to get the poll. There's like a certain poll. She has like this wall with this ratio. Dad, if you get this poll, and if you pay, if you do a certain amount, there's a percentage, and if you get half of that, you're guaranteed one out of whatever. So she's like, you know what? I got $25 iTunes gift card. She doesn't buy music, doesn't buy videos, doesn't buy games because everything's free. So can I spend $14.99 on this Genshin Impact thing? Like, go ahead, whatever, do it. She's also like, here we go, Genshin Impact. She pays for it. First pull is like characters she already has. I'm like 4-star. Cool, sounds good. It's a start, and it's just weapons the rest of the way through. And she was so pissed off. She's ready to throw her phone across. She's like, are you kidding me? $14.99 gets me all the stuff that I already have in my inventory, and I'm like, honey. This is exactly how these companies make.
But you put your hand on her shoulder, like
this is the moment.
At 50 pool, or no, what is it? At 70 pools, you get 50-50 on a 5-star character, and
that's what she was telling me.
If you didn't pull a 5-star character yet, you're guaranteed the 5-star character in the banner.
And I will say this: the best part is she tells me that she's like, well, I guess I'll save up all the pity and use that. And I'm like, I'm giving you a lot of pity right now. She goes, no. Pity is an actual monetary thing in the game.
Yeah, it's pool pity. It's so like you still like if you've gone 80 pools and don't get a 5-star, you're guaranteed your next 10 pools will guarantee you a 5-star. So you can build up pity on banners that you want stacks of the 4-star characters of, and then but then the other thing is you run the risk of resetting your pity because you could pull 30 and get your 5-star right there, and it might not be the 5-star you want. Hi, I'm Sam Dixon, and I play Genshin Impact, and I haven't spent any money, but I will tell you that I am ready to pull up to 90 for the next 5-star pole arm girl that comes out in 7 days. So I'll see you there.
There you go, 7 days.
I'll record my pulls and bring them to the episode with me.
Do it.
Totally I just want you to know, Sam, that Catch Me on the Track has been living absolutely rent-free in my head. I booted up Forza and just kind of set it to myself, even.
Every time you set a quote-unquote high speed on a speed trap and you're still like 50 miles per hour down on me, you just need to blast that.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a shirt that says Catch Me on the Track, and that's going to be the side questing.
Yeah.
You can find me. Find me at Dali Demovsky. You can find us at SideQuesting, sidequesting.com, SideQuesting TV over on YouTube and on Twitch. And I don't know if maybe we have a TikTok. I'm not sure. I'm going to open up Pokemon cards on our SideQuesting TikTok.
There you go.
With that, we wish you all a wonderful holiday season, a very happy new year, a very happy GOTY of the year. Take care, everybody.
Uh-oh,
No. They just dropped some new Nier art on the Square Enix Twitter page.
Okay.
He's losing his mind. Are you reading
Square Enix Twitter?
All right, take care, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode of The Side Quest. Bye-bye.
Yeah, to talk about Nier next week.